Hey there, welcome to the Hot Slice, the weekly podcast brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I'm your host, Jeremy White, editor-in-chief of Pizza Today, joined this morning by the smiling, bright-eyed executive editor of Pizza Today, Denise Greer. Hey, Denise.
Hello, Jeremy. Why not be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? It's going to be the warmest day of all week in the middle of the
I
winter.
know.
So I'm very happy-go-lucky today.
Me too. After a cold spell, the sun's out. It feels amazing. Speaking of amazing, we have an amazing guest
Absolutely.
today that we worked really hard for a while to line up because he's got a very busy schedule.
Absolutely. And Jeremy, let's not delay the suspense. Who do we have on tap today? Come on.
All right, today on this episode of the Hot Slice, we're speaking with Ken Forkish, founder and previous owner, we'll get to that in a moment, of Ken's Artisan Bakery and Ken's Artisan Pizza in Portland, Oregon. Now, he'll tell his story a little bit. Ken started in the tech world, like many others before him, got, well, I'll say probably disenfranchised with corporate life and decided he wanted to pursue a passion that was ignited in him upon following a trip to France. He got into baking. He became an acclaimed baker, wrote a book, got into pizza, wrote another book, and now he's going to be speaking at International Pizza Expo and International Artisan Bakery as
Yeah,
well in Las Vegas. So he's going to deliver a keynote address on the second day of the show, and it's something that attendees, whether they own and operate a pizzeria or a bakery, they're not going to want to miss this because he's just got a great story to tell.
absolutely. And if when you hear the word baking and pizza, his name is one of those that rises right up to the top. I mean, people know
Mm-hmm.
and love him, and he's just doing big things. And he's actually got some news that he just shared recently that kind of changes the game for him too.
Yeah, he is riding off into the sunset, literally heading to Hawaii. He has sold his pizza and baking businesses. He's just decided that now is the time to retire and go enjoy the beach life, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, it is something that we're seeing on trend in our industry. People that have been in this business for a long time, they're cashing in their chips and moving on, which is opening up new opportunities for young operators, but it's also
Mm-hmm.
giving them a nice break. And after the pandemic, I think a lot of people have reevaluated what's important, and as they look to retire, they're ready to move on. So it's definitely something we're seeing, and it's exciting for them to be able to do that. I'm very jealous of being able to ride off into the sunset, and it also, like I said, opens it up for new operators. So it's going to be an interesting time for pizza.
It really is. I think the pandemic accelerated this a lot. The labor issues, the stash shortages, just all the headaches that you deal with on the daily when you're running any kind of retail business, particularly a restaurant right now. It's tough. And if you've been successful up until this point, done well, tucked a couple eggs away in the basket, who can blame anyone for saying, hey, I'm going to retire now, I'm going to stop dealing with these headaches and go enjoy life. So we are seeing a lot of people retire or sell their businesses right now. We could rattle off 5 or 6
Mm-hmm.
right now, but here's the thing, as you said, that opens a door for the next generation, for the young ones who are ready to enter the
I say
pizza
young
business.
as in all, anybody under the age of 80, maybe
Young,
after
hey, the young at heart,
there
Denise.
you go. There you go.
It's
Uh,
not for the faint of heart. You have to have a certain level of energy about you in order to run a pizzeria daily successfully. It's a massive
mhm.
time commitment. It's a physical commitment, right? It will
Yeah.
take its toll, beat you down if you don't have the energy. So
Yeah.
it's not for everyone, but like we said, new doors are opening right now for the next wave. And
Yeah.
that's really exciting because they're just like every generation before them, they're going to take it somewhere next level and really cool. And you and I are going to have a front row seat, and we'll talk about it on a podcast. We'll write about it in Pizza Today magazine, and we
Mhm.
will get to watch it as it unfolds. And that's pretty fun.
Yeah. And Ken himself is making a mark, a huge mark on the baking and pizza industries. So let's just jump right into his story and him talking about what's happening. And then, stick around to the end where we, talk about Expo and talk about where he's headed next.
Yeah, let's get Ken on.
Bacio is celebrating its 10-year anniversary, a decade of exceptional Italian pizza cheese, unmatched consistency, and partners that have become family. If you haven't had the chance to try it, purchase Bacio today and enroll in the Gold Club to receive cash back for every pound you buy. That's right, get rewarded for every single pound of cheese purchased. Schedule a demonstration at baciocheese.com/hotslice to learn more. Pizza is your legacy. Build it with Bacio. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
Ken, we have so much to cover today. There's a lot going on with you. There's a lot going on with Pizza Expo. So much to talk about. I don't even know where to start, but it's always easy to just start from the beginning. How did you get in the pizza business originally?
Long pause.
No, that's all right. We'll edit.
Who doesn't love pizza? Uh, I was when I was in my previous career, so I had 20 years in tech. I knew fairly early on in that career that long term I wanted to do something else, something that would satisfy certain passions, that would not be part of corporate culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I just spent a lot of time kind of, it's not really an active search, but hoping that sooner or later I would figure it out. And for a while, I thought that I'd like to make pizza. And then for a while, I thought, let's be a baker. And then it was repeated trips to France in the 90s that really solidified that I want to do this kind of rustic artisan bread that I'm seeing at these great boulangeries in Paris, and not always rustic. Like a great baguette is not a rustic bread, but that was like, yeah, I want to make great baguettes. I want to make these great kind of rustic, round, big loaves that come out of wood-fired ovens or deck ovens. So ultimately, I decided to go with bread, and I thought it was a craft that I could learn. Because I had no experience as a professional baker. When baking bread, 1 or 2 loaves at home is really not quite the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was sort of the seed was wanting to do my own thing, and then bouncing back and forth, and then ultimately I ended up doing both bread and pizza.
Mm-hmm. The bread, was that something in your youth you liked to experiment with? You liked to bake at home, or was it literally the trip to France and you tasted this bread and you're like, I haven't had this before, I'd like to try this myself? Where did that all come from?
It wasn't anything in my youth. It was really, it was both trips to France, and there's an article in Smithsonian Magazine that I keep referencing. It was the January 1995 issue, and it was a feature article on Lionel Poilâne, who was the most famous baker in France. And he baked bread out of wood-fired ovens that were in the basement of his boulangerie on the left bank in Paris. They were fantastic. And there was nothing modern about them or his ways of doing it. And that's really appealed to me. It was a craft that, you could really take back centuries. And it was also a craft that was done. There weren't bakers like that in the US. Well, there actually were a few, but not many. And I saw it as a tradition that I could continue. I also thought it was something that I could learn. So I just kind of dove right in.
How did you learn it? Where did the expertise come from?
I found a couple of professional schools. The San Francisco Baking Institute was the most significant and remains the most significant place to go to learn artisan baking right now. And they do 1 and 2 week courses, and they also did longer term instructionals for people. I did a series of 1 week courses there. And then I studied at there's a baking center in Minneapolis that was short-lived, but they had some excellent instructors and good equipment. So I needed to go to school, but I didn't want to go to work for anyone else.
Fair enough.
When I opened Ken's Artisan Bakery, that was my first food job.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You know, I had really good training and I had a lot of confidence. I'd spent some time visiting other bakeries in France, mostly in California, and got a sense of what the day-to-day rhythms were like. And I knew I just needed to do it myself and learn it and hope that I didn't suck too bad at the beginning.
Yeah. Now, how did you learn the business side? Because opening a bakery and then a pizzeria, there's so much of the business element to it. Did you kind of learn that on your own?
One really simple rule: cash in needs to be greater than cash out.
Yes, exactly.
Keep it simple. Now, okay, so at some point though, you made a leap into pizza. Eventually, you had a pizzeria. Well, you actually had more than one pizzeria, but in the beginning, eventually you made the jump into a pizzeria as well. Was that as simple as let's do a pizza night on whatever night of the week, Friday night out of the bakery? And then
that's how it started. I opened the bakery in November 2001. And actually the predecessor to the pizza night at the bakery was about a year in. I wasn't making it. I was losing money, and I needed to find a way to get more revenue coming into the bakery. And I thought, well, I've got this really cool space, and it's dark at nighttime. And maybe so I opened up for 5 nights a week as this little bistro. And I did it because I met a couple of people. I met Claudine Pepin and her husband, Raleigh. And Claudine is Jacques Pepin's daughter. Raleigh was a really good chef. They both just moved to Portland. We're looking for gigs, and they appreciated the work that I was doing as a baker. So the three of us put together this little bistro at the bakery for 5 nights a week. We got public attention that I sorely needed, and a little bit of extra business. And then I closed it down about 8 months in. It wasn't really a natural fit for a bakery to be a restaurant too. But it was a great experience, and it gave me confidence that we could do more things in that space, or that I could do more things as I was evolving with my skill set. So it was in 2005, I wanted to try making pizza in our bread oven at the bakery. And so we did a little test run with friends and family, and they liked it. And so we started, I just branded it Monday Night Pizza. And Monday Night Pizza ran all the way up to the beginning of the pandemic. Then that finally killed it.
Wow.
Monday Night Pizza at the bakery in 2005 was super popular. It was like one of the very first pop-ups in Portland. And for an older guy, I was proud to be, an innovator.
That's great.
Did
you have Did you have a certain style of pizza that you were going for from the beginning, or did you just kind of throw some sauce and some cheese on whatever bread you had around? How did that work out?
No, we made a specific pizza dough. And stylistically, I wasn't trying to mimic any other pizza. It wasn't some pizza that I grew up with. And you're sure not going to make a true Italian Neapolitan style pizza in a 550 degree bread oven. So we just made pizza that we liked, and people liked it. And I couldn't believe people would wait an hour to get a table in my bakery to have a pizza. Then there was a lot of motivation after a year of doing that. And so let's just open a restaurant. So with a wood-fired oven, and that's what we did. And so Ken's Artisan Pizza opened in 2006 with this giant wood-fired oven in the middle of the restaurant. And it's going great today.
That's
what did you learn about formulating a dough for pizza? You had experience as a baker. How different was it? Did you find it easy because of your experience, or did you find it more difficult than you thought it would be?
No, that was the fun part. I feel really comfortable with dough, understanding how to make it fit a specific application. Um, and it's the dough that defines our pizza more than anything. And I can't like understate that. Even when I was working on, when I was writing the elements of pizza, gosh, that was 8 years ago now when I started working on that one. Um, I I spent a lot of time. Well, I went to Italy and I went to New York, but everybody I met would they would just pull out a tray and show me their dough balls, and it was just like this common thing that
Mhm.
if I'm gonna talk to you about my pizza, you got to see what my dough looks like, you know, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, your pizza's it's the dough defines your pizza more than anything else.
Absolutely. And, I think, we can trace, Portland's rise as one of the dominant pizza scenes right to you and your restaurant. If you look at what's happened with the Portland scene and even being named one of the top, the top pizza cities, that goes right back to what you're doing. How have you been able to teach others, the craft and being able to move that forward?
Teaching others is not so easy.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of questions that just sort of like take the attention away from my point. Human beings are unpredictable.
Absolutely, they are.
And when it comes down to employees, in Portland, there's a lot of whether free thinkers or it's probably not just Portland, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to answer your question.
Oh, no, that's okay.
You need to maintain focus. You need to have confidence in what you're doing and know that you have a direction, and then you just need to, herd the cats.
I gotcha. That's a good point. That's great.
So now you wrote 2 books, correct?
Yes, and my third book is going to publish in September of 22.
I was
That's
wondering
what
if
I
there was a
thought.
third one coming.
That was my pandemic project.
Nice.
What got you into writing your first book? I'm going to assume, look, a project like that is very time consuming,
Oh yeah.
but you're in a business where you don't have a lot of extra time on your hands in the first place. What got you to say, okay, I'm going to sit down and write a book now?
I wanted to make a lasting contribution to the thought world of bread baking and pizza baking.
Mm-hmm.
And to have some legacy that would survive me if I was successful with it. And I think I achieved that. I'm really proud of that first book. It was something that I had in me and I wanted to get it out. And I thought about it for a long time. Even before I opened my bakery, I knew that at some point I wanted to write about the process of opening, about what it was like to go through the life change. Now, when I look at the introductory chapter to Flour, Water, Salt, Yeast, which is my personal story, it's a little embarrassing.
Why do you say that?
Did I really have to do this? It was definitely in the late 2000s and early 20-teens. It was definitely the style of a chef's first cookbook to write their personal story. And so there were plenty of predecessors, people that had set that example, and I wanted to be one of them. And I used some other books as sort of guiding lights. And it's pretty personal, and I'm just like, I'm not so sure that was a great idea, but I did do it, and I can't undo it.
Well, and obviously people love that book. So can you give us a little teaser? What's happening in this third book that's going to come out?
Oh, I'd love to give you a teaser. So it's a it's a successor to Flour, Water, Salt, Yeast. This is a bread cookbook. It's all bread. It's got some bread applications. So for example, there's I like pizza toast, and you can take a slice of bread and turn it into a pretty great piece of pizza, and just put it in the world of pizza toast. And I wanted to give pizza toast some legitimacy. That's like a total left-hand turn from your question.
No, that's great.
But essentially, my first book and most of the significant artisan bread cookbooks, they're all about crusty breads that in a home oven, Dutch oven is the best way to go. You need steam in the oven for these kind of breads to expand to their capacity and to get the right set on the crust. And it's hard to get steam in a regular home kitchen oven that's designed to vent steam. By their nature, they have to let it out, otherwise it'll blow up. So I started baking pan breads at home at the beginning of the pandemic, just for sandwiches or toast, and using kind of the same dough recipes. It's like, man, this is really good, and nobody's really written a cookbook about artisan pan breads. So I did, and pan breads is a good opportunity to add stuff to your dough. Yeah. And my first book I was really pure. It was flour, water, salt, yeast for a reason. Because to me, the sign of a good baker is how good their bread can be when it doesn't rely on some addition to the dough to make it taste good. Whether it's a sweetener or nuts or fruits or beer or, the cool things you can add to bread. But in this book, I was like, well, there's a lot of stuff I can add to bread dough that at this point, I've sort of proven my point about just flour, water, salt, yeast.
Yeah.
And then I look at the loaves that people buy at the supermarket and, for example, multigrain breads. And you ever look at the ingredient list on a multigrain bread or any bread that's packaged at the supermarket? I'm going, it really doesn't need all that other stuff other than to be a preservative. And to me, multigrain is, well, they're actually grains. They're not other things that go in the multigrain breads that aren't grains. So to me, a grain is, barley, oats, and on and on and on and on. So I did a great multigrain bread. I did a corn bread that has corn flour in the dough, and corn kernels, of course. And then you can just go crazy with corn. You could, essentially you can, like, if you cut the once you cut the kernels off the cob, well, the cob still has a lot of flavor. So you can create a little broth for the cobs. The broth can hydrate the dough. And all of a sudden you get more corn flavor in there from the corn meal, the corn flour that's in the dough, the corn kernels, the corn broth. On and on and on and on.
A lot of natural sugars there. Do you have a favorite variety of flour to work with when you're, does it depend on the style of bread that you're looking to achieve?
It depends on the style. I am really interested, and I promote in this book a lot. I have several recipes that use emmer, einkorn, spelt, but there's also heritage grains that I think have actually better baking quality and great flavor. Red Fife, for example, Rouge de Bordeaux. These are Turkey red. These are varieties of wheat that were growing throughout the United States in the 1800s. Then wheat new varieties get bred in the wheat crops. It's a natural, it's just the way things are. Some varieties are being developed right now because they taste good. Other varieties over the last 100 years, though, have mostly been developed for very large scale agriculture and to meet the needs of millers for very large scale baking or bakeries. And so some of the flavor has been bred out of wheat. And there's been in the last 10 years a real renaissance in the wheat market in the United States. And now there are farmers that are doing the milling in-house. So there's a movement that's, I don't want to call it a movement, but you got to come up with a word. So I will call it a movement of farmers that are taking the milling in-house and using really good quality stone mills, which produces basically a more flavorful flour to bake with. And you can buy direct from the farms now on the online marketplace, which, 20 years ago, people weren't buying flour online. But now you can go to buy flour from, whether there's mills in Indiana, New York State, California, Oregon, Texas, Arizona, Washington State, on and on, that you can just basically get a higher quality flour to bake with. And that's the whole point, is bread that tastes better.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So now let's fast forward a little bit. You are going to deliver an address at International Pizza Expo, International Artisan Bakery Show in
Yeah,
Las
you sure you
Vegas.
want me there, man?
Well, I think we talked about it again this morning. Do we really want him there? And it was like we flipped the coin. Heads he comes, tails he doesn't, and it landed on heads. So I mean, you're in.
Oh man, I was hoping. Well, Ken, we thought better of it.
Yeah.
We almost did.
Well,
So-
yeah. Put it this way: I've never done anything like this before.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I'm definitely scared shitless.
Good.
Well, you
Good.
have the perfect
You know,
crowd in the people that come, because they're just going to be captivated, and they're going to be so inspired by you, because you're already so inspiring to our industries. And I can't wait to hear it. So no pressure. I mean, no pressure.
no.
Yeah, what am I supposed to say?
Here's the thing. I found that nervous energy is fuel that will actually aid you when you're on the stage. What are you planning to talk about? Are you going to tell your personal story? Are you going to talk about how you came to get into pizza? What exactly, without giving it all away, what are you going to discuss?
I have no. I've been asking myself the same question, man. You gotta give me some hints.
You know what? We're gonna have to wait and see, Denise.
Yeah.
When the attendees to Pizza Expo and the Artisan Bakery Show come and sit down and listen to Ken, I know they're gonna be in for a treat, but he doesn't want to give anything away, so I can respect that.
I'm going to talk about the dough, Jeremy. That's my comfort zone, is dough and ingredients.
Yeah.
Process, bad jokes.
I like it. Well, I'm excited for the bad jokes too.
I don't know. I just don't want to like fall on my face.
Oh, you won't. Now, in
You'll
the
do
meantime, too, though, you recently sold your businesses. You
Yes.
are heading to Hawaii, I understand.
Yes. Yeah.
Why was now the time to get out when you have thriving business that's actually brought you a lot of acclaim? Why now?
Without belaboring the point, it's partly because of my age. I'm in my mid-60s now, and I just don't really want to continue in the management aspect. It's personnel management, the responsibility that goes with having a lease on a business. Both places have been very successful, and I just wanted a little less pressure on my day-to-day life or stress. And I would say the personnel management is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Did the pandemic heighten that or bring that about? Or were you planning this already before the pandemic?
I think it accelerated my schedule.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still hard. It's the last 2 days that I was December 30th and 31st would have been my last 2 days. We had to shut Ken's Artisan Pizza because of positive COVID test among the staff. And like, shit, I just missed my last 2 days. And but the decision came to me on the 30th, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I'm so tired of having to make these decisions because they're gut wrenching. You want to satisfy the public, but it's also, those are Thursday and Friday night. It was a lot of money that we lost by not being open. I still paid all the staff because, it was month end, they had to pay their rent. So it was a very expensive decision on my way out the door. But those kind of things, at the bakery, we 2 weeks into December, at 1 a.m, I got a phone call that the bread oven shut down. The lights wouldn't come on, it wouldn't fire. It had an electrical problem that was fixed the next day, but I had to tell the crew to just throw away all the bread dough, and we didn't have bread that day. Those kind of decisions, they're hard, and they always happen. There's always something that comes up, and the hero side of owning a well-known pizzeria or a well-known bakery is easy to see, but the stuff that we don't want anybody to be aware of happens in the back room is not, it's not easy, and it wears a person down. And so I just kind of want freedom from that.
That makes total sense. Denise, now Ken's hardest decision is going to be in Hawaii. Am I going to set an alarm for tomorrow or not?
Yeah.
No, we do not have alarms there.
That's amazing.
Those
Good
Hawaiian.
for you, and congratulations, by the way.
Yes.
That's
Actually,
good
the
for
only
you.
alarm is the bird song that accompanies sunrise. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's amazing. Well, watch out, because those Hawaiian pizza makers and bakers are gonna be like, oh, we have Ken Forkish on our island. We're gonna try to tap him.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Denise, I can already see our friend Tom Iannucci, who comes to Pizza Expo every year, will be knocking. Ken, he's going to find your address. He's going to knock on your door and wake you up one morning and say, let's go make pizza at my pizza place.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a hard time saying no.
I'll just say, great, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we honestly cannot wait for you to see you at Pizza Expo. It's going to be so exciting, and congratulations on your next moves in life. That's so exciting. I'm so jealous.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We will see you very soon in Las Vegas.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Have a
Take
good
care.
day.
See ya.
See ya.